Language Development is Our Guide, Part 2, 9.1.
Language development is our guide when teaching AAC. You've heard this before. In video 2.5, we discussed the importance of partner feedback in language development and teaching AAC. In this video, we're going to take another look at how understanding of language development informs our interactions with AAC learners by exploring how language learning is an immersive experience. Picking up where we left off in video 2.5, let's briefly recap. Language develops in a relatively predictable fashion regardless of how a person communicates. So though the modality and pace of language development may differ for AAC learners, the sequence of skill development and necessary conditions of the environment for those skills to develop is quite similar. We know that young children don't immediately start talking. For up to a year, and often more, they are immersed in the language of their family and culture, the language they will learn. They babble or play with sounds, and we respond. When AAC learners first start using AAC, they may just touch the page or screen to see what happens, in much of the way babies babble and interact. Over time, this exploration becomes more purposeful, just as mom is shaped into mama over time and with feedback. First words then emerge from the collection of words that are used often and are most important to a learner. For AAC learners, the first words they explore on their AAC may be the core words we have so often modeled, such as up and go. They may also be the high-value words they are most eager to share, such as bubbles, pizza palace, or grandma. Then, when a child has about 50 words, they begin to combine words into phrases. It follows then that we should expect our AAC learners to use single words for a period of time while they learn about their AAC, acquire more words, and begin to understand how words can go together. But this learning process is not scripted, and there is no curriculum that can tell you the words a child will learn and in what order. Which brings us to our topic for this video. Language learning is an immersive experience learned through everyday routines, activities, and interactions.
Can you tell Mama? What do you want? Oh, turn! Good job, Logan! Turn, turn, turn. Turn, turn, turn. Turn, turn, turn. Oh my goodness, is that fun? What do you think? What do you want? Oh, you're looking at your block. Whoa! What do you want, Logan? You gonna tell me? Sure! Even with Gracie. We went back home to Georgia to get insurance or to be evaluated for an AAC device, and they straight told us no. They said that he was nowhere near ready, that he couldn't do it, that he needed to do all these other things before. And so it was heartbreaking and frustrating because here we just had this amazing session up at UNC Clinic, and then we come home and we are told like the exact opposite. And I said, I have all these papers, I have all this documentation of this is what he needs. And it was just, there was no going forward. So that was at 3. And then at 5, he went into, so we looked at some other options. You know, we looked at what we could purchase ourselves and the smart talkers and whatnot. You know, obviously we just couldn't swing a $10,000 device on our own. It just wasn't feasible at that time, or now even. So then he started our school system, and thankfully our school system is really good. And they said, no, absolutely, he qualifies. So, but that was at 5. And I know that there's this huge gap between 3 and 5 that if he had had that many years starting, he would have been able to do a little bit more.
So let's look at 4 tenets of AAC implementation that take their lead from what we understand about language development. First up, communicating for a variety of purposes. In video 1.2, we explored all the reasons we communicate. When supporting AAC learners, we often focus on requests and refusal. But expanding what we say to our AAC learners with their AAC shows them how to do more than make a choice or show a preference. When we comment, they see what it looks like to use interesting and fun words to tell about things they notice. When we take a turn with AAC to tell them about our day, they learn how to share information with others. AAC, as part of a social exchange, can enhance the value and effectiveness of the moment. As we've learned, communicating for a variety of purposes keeps the conversation dynamic, flexible, and interesting. Communicating for a variety of purposes with AAC embeds opportunities to learn AAC in everyday routines, activities, and interactions. Next, let's look at modeling or demonstrating language with AAC. This is really at the core of how language is learned. Children learn the native language of their family or culture by hearing it spoken around them every day.
Good morning.
Morning.
What do you want for breakfast?
I want toast.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
¿Qué quisieras comer para desayunar?
Me gustaría unos chilaquiles.
Similarly, the ways in which primary caregivers and communication partners engage with AAC learners shapes how they learn to communicate. Foreign language learners gain confidence when surrounded by speakers of that language for a period of time.
Il caffè italiano è il migliore.
Sì, il caffè italiano è il migliore.
Caffè italiano è il migliore.
Modeling is, in essence, how all language is learned. Often, we can clearly see when an AAC learner has learned through modeling. A young girl I once knew loved to say silly with her AAC when she did something she shouldn't because her mom used that word often to tell her she was being silly when her play was over the top.
Where?
You gonna go get them?
Where? Mom.
Right here.
Dad.
The nature of immersive experiences lends itself to providing AAC learners language input that is not contingent upon them using AAC. For instance, when grocery shopping, simply thinking aloud while you make selections provides an opportunity to model everyday language with AAC. Ooh, mangoes. Those look good.
Good.
Let's get some.
Some.
And just as modeling verbal language exposes children who develop spoken language to words beyond what they currently use,
Recycling our water bottles helps protect the environment.
modeling AAC helps AAC learners understand the capacity of their AAC devices, even if they aren't yet using many of the words being modeled.
Protect the environment means that we help take care of it.
Modeling AAC during everyday routines, activities, and interactions equips AAC learners to engage in their world in meaningful ways. It shows them how to interact and learn about their world in the times and places where life happens.
It is a totally new language. It's a new language for me, and it's a new language for Maya. So, trying it for a while. And I will say that we are very much like in the beginning stages. So I think not so much a barrier, it's just gonna take a long time, I think, for me to feel like even more comfortable. And I think that's just gonna come with practice.
Now, there is much emphasis placed on using core words when teaching AAC. One of the reasons for this is that these words make up a substantial percentage of the words we use throughout our day and across our activities, 80% by many estimations. As such, it is not possible to provide immersive language learning experiences without core words. If a child loves dinosaurs and can identify all of them, but can't talk about them, the interaction is sure to fall flat. We love it when kids can show us what they know and tell us Diplodocus has a long neck and strong tail and eats plants. He is one of the biggest. Looking closely, you'll notice it's mostly core words. Let's look at a situation where a child needs to tell about how she got hurt, but it's not clear what happened. She says she was getting ready to go in when the door opened fast and hard and hit the side of her head. Again, almost all core words. From the perspective of language development, core words are imperative because they allow us to talk about the things that interest us and allow us to tell our story, as it were, more effectively than high interest and fringe words alone. Finally, let's look at the time it takes for language skills to develop. Think about the language development chart posted on the wall last time you were in a pediatrician's office. Most language development charts or checklists used and shared by pediatricians and SLPs look at skill development through age 5. Some extend to age 7. This tells us that typically developing children require, on average, 5 to 7 years of immersive language experiences to develop foundational language skills. So what does this mean for our AAC learners? Firstly, acquiring speech is usually automatic. Speaking AAC takes more time and planning. So inevitably, our AAC learners are getting less language input with their device than their typically developing peers, even if we're doing an amazing job having AAC always available and modeling as much as possible. No judgment here, just fact. Secondly, our AAC learners have complex needs that impact their learning and attention. As a result, it takes more time, more practice, more learning opportunities, and more language experiences to acquire language skills. Additionally, complex profiles often include medical factors that create stress and unpredictability. When these issues take priority, AAC can, understandably, fall to the back burner. So if AAC learners have fewer language learning opportunities, and it takes them longer to gain skills, it makes sense that progress is seen over years and even decades, rather than weeks or months. As you travel this journey with your AAC learner, knowing that it will take time can help keep the process in perspective and help you not get too discouraged. Remember, language learning is a long game for all language learners. Language learning with AAC is in many instances an even longer game. Understanding how language development guides our practices and mindsets when implementing AAC provides focus and purpose to our efforts. It also brings clarity to why there are no prerequisites for AAC. Just as immersive language experiences are essential for language development, immersive experiences with AAC are essential to develop AAC know-how.